know, nonstop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
Yeah, we had, I think in the red zone one time we had a penalty that kind of put us back behind the chains. We had a couple, I think we had like a 3rd and 13, which is just not ideal. You'd much rather be in 3rd and medium, 3rd and short there. So got to find ways that, on 3rd down in the red zone to convert, but you also want to put yourself in a position where it's a more manageable distance than, 3rd and 13 or whatever it was.
Okay, where does listening to Kirk Cousins rationalize and explain what happened yesterday rank on your list of things that you want to hear on this Monday?
Well,
I think we just need to, I don't need to hear it.
He's, he is a far superior QB, but he is Ponder-esque in his post-game approach. Like it's never
easily correct. Everything's easily correctable.
Got to look at the film. Easily correctable. Like just once I would like a quarterback from this team now to go to the podium and just be pissed off. Like Justin Jefferson's post-game presser had the exact right tone of I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at me and our team.
Yes.
That's what I want.
But that's because I think Justin Jefferson has a real confidence in who he is.
Yes.
Like I think he's a real, genuine person. And I think Kirk goes up to the microphone. You said this from the minute that he was signed, that he is saying and acting as a CEO quarterback would. You're not getting like his genuine thoughts or personality. And I suppose I could just look right at you because we are in the same studio for the first time.
Oh, I thought we were trying to keep the ruse going.
That's right.
I thought we were trying to keep the ruse
that loss
going.
Was such a disaster yesterday that I had to fly in and be in person to fillet and scald this
That's
team
because
today.
the Wilfs have asked to talk to you. We can't really divulge much about this, but 3 o'clock today, you're going to go meet with them. You got some ideas.
Yeah, we're consulting for the Vikings now. It's short term until they find a new coach, GM, and quarterback for next year. Well, this is Purple Daily Vikings entertainment presented by Surly Brewing Company and our friends at TCL. If you were watching that debacle on a TCL TV yesterday, don't kill the messenger. Don't blame the TV. It's probably a wonderful picture quality. They have a new lineup of award-winning TVs delivering the most entertainment with stunning resolution, all at an affordable cost. Enjoy more of the things you love with TCL. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. That's the mantra here on Purple Daily. And so let's start holding some people accountable. This is the pie chart of blame on this Monday.
Now on Mackey and Judd.
This chart makes it as clear as I can to you.
The pie chart of blame.
You want to blame somebody?
So Declan has requested to go first. You would like to... Declan, by the way, the guy who all week last week said... Stop worrying. This is going to be a blowout victory, a get-right game for the Minnesota Vikings. While I sat here and told you, no, not only is it not going to be that, but they are going to flat-out, straight-up lose to this god-awful football team. So the floor is yours to apologize to the audience for misleading them.
So I want to give this pie chart. It's unprecedented for me to do this. I've never had this type of pie chart. I've never blamed this specific person. I've never had to do this. So it's actually just one whole chunk of pie as I get on the clock here. It's one whole chunk of pie. 100% of this pie chart of blame is on Declan Goff, the executive producer, for assuming this. I'm to blame. I'm to blame for assuming the Vikings will not just win, but blow out the Lions. I'm to blame for assuming that a team with playoff aspirations wouldn't even dare to lose to a winless team. I'm to blame for assuming an NFL veteran head coach who is comfortably over 500 his career wouldn't lose and be out-dueled by someone who has never won an NFL game as head coach. I'm to blame for thinking there's no possible way that Jared Goff could dagger you in a minute 48 with no timeouts. I'm to blame for believing that the coaching staff would not stomp on the throats of a defense that's one of the worst in the league, despite having weapons like Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and a far superior quarterback. I'm to blame for not listening to my direct superior, friend and member of this show that I produce for when he told me it's a trap game. And no, I'm not the one playing the game, but I blame myself for being a fan of this team for nearly 30 years and assuming something is given with a franchise that has perpetually tortured me and the likes of myself, fans who are double my age. So Vikings fans, Mackie and Judd, Purple Daily, 100%. I am assuming the pie chart of blame. This one is on me. And just like Jared Goff, even a little bit more efficient. Just a 90-second quick drive
Jared
down
Goff
the field with no timeouts.
Jared Goff needed a minute 33, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Declan needed a minute 28.
I'm a little more cost-effective with my cap hit, okay? I'm a little bit more cost-effective, and I deliver in a quicker and better time. But I'm to blame. I'm just going to assume all the blame for this one.
Wow.
You didn't have to do that, but
Takes guts.
that's a very un-Kirk-like thing that you just did there.
Oh, thank you.
It's your fault.
Now, Sports Dad's radar wasn't totally calibrated either.
No,
but
I thought they win.
What is the advice from Sports Dad to Declan, who just, this is going to be a blowout?
Always hedge your bets, and I said I think it's going to be a close game. The Vikings will win, and until late, it did look like, because the Lions, you knew the Lions would lion at least once, if not twice, and I think Goff officially did twice. So, I thought, okay, it's going to be a close win, but my advice would be never get so far out over your skis that you assume a blowout. Because, I figured it would be close, but I did think the Vikings would win, in part because this gives me even more of a platform to call for changes now, which are very necessary, Always set yourself up, Dex, to win. And in this case, I can win now because my call for changes is even stronger because I picked them to win this damn game.
Okay.
I like that. Yeah, you set the bar high for them.
Always
Maybe
hedge.
you were wrong, but you really win long term because now you get to punish them for the gap between expectations and reality.
I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
I heard
So
that one
it's
a lot.
it's the parental thing. Mike, I'm not mad at you. I'm disappointed.
Disappointed.
It's even worse because you don't want to disappoint, Sports Dad.
I like it. All right.
Thank you.
Sports Dad's on
Thank
the
you.
clock here.
All
Pie
right.
chart of
Dex,
blame.
let's see it. Let's get that clock going. All right, let's kill. Blue
Alert.
Blue 80, blue 80, red 60.
Ready, sir.
Let's start at the bottom, work our way up. 5% of the pie chart of blame, and this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of pie, so it's not going to take that long. But anyway, 5% goes to the defense as a whole. So not the guy calling the plays, but the defense. That ending was brutal. They can't escape entirely responsibility. I have bigger fish to fry in this pie chart, but I am going to at least mention that the defense as a whole, Cam Dantzler, the secondary, what have you, certainly gets some of the blame. 20% goes to Klint Kubiak. A game plan that comes out, and if you look at the box score, you're going to say, Judd, you're crazy, so I hope that we all watched the game. A game plan that ignores Justin Jefferson until late in the first half is not a game plan at all. It is a cry to be fired. It's a cry to go home and work on daddy's farm. And the fact is, Justin Jefferson had 2 receptions for 53 yards before the Vikings' final drive of the first half. Inexcusable. Well, I mean, the Lions were playing cloud coverage, Judd. What's he supposed to do? Too deep. You saw it. Do you think the Lions said, okay, first half is done, let's not cover him anymore. Let's see what happens then? No, the Vikings found ways because they were desperate to get him the ball. Assume desperation when the game begins, and imagine what Justin Jefferson's day looks like then. 20% Klint Kubiak.
Can I add real quick? Sorry to cut into your time.
Go right ahead. No,
People
no,
are saying, well, what do you want from the Vikings? They did. It was a slow start, but they ultimately took the lead with a minute and a half to go, and then it was the defense that gave it up the other way. Well, it doesn't exonerate the defense.
Right.
But let's not lose sight of why they got the ball back and where they got it back at the 30-yard line, because Campbell decided to put his grapefruits on the table. They scored 20 points against the Lions, and then Dan Campbell gifted them possession inside field goal range, and then they walked in from there. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And now we get to the top 3 going 3, 2, 1. The trinity of the Vikings. Kirk Cousins, 20%. And I know right now people are freaking out. Oh, what's he supposed to do? Look at the box score, Judd. It is the latest hollow box score from the king of hollow box scores, okay? When it mattered, again, if we all watch that game, we saw Kirk Cousins checking down, which is not a play call. Like it's not like, hey, Kirk, just check down. Checking down is Kirk Cousins still being freaked out from the fact that he threw an interception on his first pass of the third quarter against the Niners last week. That's what the problem was. And he cut it loose when he absolutely had to, which he is capable of doing. But he's also capable of cutting it loose long before that. I mean, he got Thielen hurt on a play that I think gained no yards. So, like, it didn't even, at least the last time Thielen got hurt in Detroit, it was on a touchdown pass.
Yeah.
This was a gain of no yards. Ridiculous. Kirk Cousins, king of hollow box scores, 20%. 25% as I work my way up the ladder to Rick Spielman. He has built a roster that either employs the worst backups in the history of backups, or he employs a coach that can't teach them. Either way, he is the GM of this team, and it's on him. That is, Mike since training camp has been saying, I don't trust the backups. Okay, so either Rick has no idea how to draft young talent, which I would say is probably not true, but that's what Mike told us, or he employs a coach now who is past his time and who can't develop players. Either way, it comes back to Rick Spielman. And 30% goes to Mike Zimmer. So let's see, your defense let you down. You call the defense. So what would you say you do here if you didn't do a good job with that? Because we know that you certainly don't do a good job with the offense. Are you working on special teams now? Like, what are we doing here? You definitely had a hand in allowing the offensive line to be 3/5 shaken up in, I believe, week 13. 30% on Zim, 25% on Spielman, 20% on Cousins, 20% on Kubiak, 5% on defense. And that's, yes, I'm serious, fans out there. 5% on defense because I got bigger fish to fry than a bunch of backups who struggled.
Clock.
5:02.
There it is.
5:02.
Very nice.
Blue 80.
Blue 80. You know what? Before I get to my pie chart, if you're sick of the Minnesota Vikings right now and you want to watch a real winner, we are giving away Winter Classic tickets. You want to watch the best team in the NHL right now, the Minnesota Wild? You can get Winter Classic tickets. We're giving it all week long. You can register once per day. These 5 days this week on the Score North app using today's promo code WILD. Today's promo code is WILD. Open the Score North app. It's free. Go to Listener Rewards. And if you want to unlock your entry into the Winter Classic giveaway, just enter the promo code WILD and you are entered. And no, Judd, you are not eligible.
Winter Classic tickets? We got Winter Classic tickets and nobody told me?
That's right. Well, we're telling you now.
If I can get it on the screen here.
There it is.
Oh, my God.
Score North app. Use the promo code WILD.
Promo code. I can't enter it, otherwise I would.
That is good. Oh, that's awesome.
Also, a shout out to our friends at Chill Boys. If you know a certain coach on the hot seat, maybe you should offer him up a pair of Chill Boys to keep him comfortable during these sweaty months where his job is on the line.
Well, hold on a second, too, because if you win those tickets, you know what? You got to get a pair of the Chill Boys Long Johns, the most comfortable Long Johns ever created, nice and warm as well. That's perfect.
That's right. Chill Boys and chillboys.com. They are changing the game down there for several of you Purple Daily listeners.
Yeah, he's right.
Bamboo Performance.
Can't argue with that.
Chillboys.com. All right. I've got 4 slices of pie here. Let's start with the first one. 1%. All right. I'm on the clock. 1% of my pie chart of blame goes to everyone who overlooked the Lions and didn't listen.
I haven't moved off that since Wednesday.
Nothing
you guys have said has convinced me otherwise. The Lions have fought this season. They are not a talented team. They've got a terrible quarterback, and I think their head coach is mostly rah-rah and not as much scheme. But they have fought their asses off. They have not quit at all. And this is a prime opportunity for them with more rest, all of these things, to finally get their first win of the season. The Vikings have been fighting too. The Vikings have not quit on Zimmer. The Vikings have not quit on Kirk or anything.
Correct.
I think there's some angst. I think there's some tension, but this just feels really bad to me.
And they went on.
Come on, Dex.
Yeah.
Come on. He wants another. Take
Thank
another
you.
bow.
Thank you.
Take
Thank
another
you.
bow.
I'm gonna let me take a bow.
You're gonna
on
be
behalf
touring-
of the Vikings miserable play.
In
Yes.
60 years, still touring off this album.
The one-hit wonder here.
You're
Actually,
Hanson.
there was the Hockey Whisperer calling a double overtime winner by Nino Niederreiter, and then it was this. Those are the only two times I've ever been
It's
right.
the greatest hits from Macadac.
So just you can't, whether you're a player, you're a coach, Mike Zimmer, whatever, you're a fan, like, you can't just, the Lions. No, not with this Vikings franchise. All right, 33% goes to the magic of Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell
Wow.
has this team, just like he said, scraping and clawing and chewing kneecaps. They're not very talented. They have a terrible starting quarterback. Jared Goff is so bad, which makes it even worse that he just drove down the field with that ridiculous vanilla Vikings defense. You know, even the fourth and 1 from their own 31 with like 4 minutes to go. Just the grapefruits that they failed miserably and the Vikings then just walked in for a touchdown. But like, he's telling his team, by going for 2 in US Bank Stadium and by going for it on 4th down, we've got grapefruits, and that's the mentality that we're going to put forth as a team. So I think just those guys have not quit on Dan Campbell, and I'm going to give the Lions credit for doing what they had to do. 2 more slices of pie. Judd covered a lot of this, but 33% to Mike Zimmer's narcolepsy because he was asleep at the wheel on that final drive.
I see what you did there.
So Jared Goff going into that drive, and just for the game, was 1 for 8 when pressured for 6 yards, and he was sacked 3 times. So he was atrocious when pressured because he's nervous. He doesn't see the field, like that interception he threw where there's like 3 other guys wide open. He just doesn't see the field. He doesn't react quickly, and it's why he's a bust, and he'll be a backup when that contract is over. And Mike Zimmer said, that's okay. We'll sit 8 yards back. The corners will sit 8 yards back, and we'll just either rush with 4 or 3 and just kind of cross our fingers. And they kept showing him on the sidelines. He was just sitting there. It's like, are you awake? What are you doing? You're the double A guy, double A gap guy.
Huh?
You can't send
Huh?
you can't send Harrison Smith. You can't
Who?
you're just gonna sit back and let Jared Goff pick you apart. Dink dunk, dink dunk.
Dink dunk.
I don't know what Mike Zimmer was doing. It was almost like he was trying to tank and lose on purpose or get fired. But dude, wake up. And then 33% of my pie is actually a lifetime achievement slice for Kirk Cousins. And this piece of pie is also for the people who inexplicably think that Kirk is the solution here, that like he's the glue that is holding everything together on this team. That, boy, if Kirk Cousins wasn't out there throwing for 340 and 2 touchdowns and a 117 passer rating, hang the banner. The Lions would have won this game 41-3, and the Vikings would have 2 wins, right? That he is Pat Mahomes, he is Joe Montana in his prime, and he is the glue that holds this thing together. But in reality, he's not any of those things. He is a gravitational pull toward mediocrity. And yesterday was a perfect microcosm for his entire career. Put up a ridiculous box score, lose the game anyways. And I think it's worth, we celebrated this on Mackie and Judd. I think it's also worth celebrating here on Purple Daily. Who cares about the Vikings winning and losing? I don't care about team wins. I care about the quarterback's stats. And yesterday, Kirk Cousins surpassed Drew Brees for 5th on the all-time passer rating list.
Way to go, Kirky.
Congratulations.
Way to go.
Yeah, the team lost, and they only sgored 6 points in the first half, and he dinked and dunked.
Gotta look
and was
at tape.
terrible.
Gotta look at tape of that.
Whatever. Doesn't really
Don't
matter.
remember that at all, by the way.
By the way, every other quarterback in the top 10 has a winning record, and most of them by far. Like Rodgers, his teams are 70 games over 500. Russell Wilson's teams are 50 games over 500. Drew Brees' teams are 60 games over 500. Tony Romo's teams are 30 games over 500. And Kirk Cousins' teams are under 500. Why is that? Is it because
Well, it's because he's been on terrible teams with bad coaches.
Yeah.
It's none of it's his fault.
None of it's his fault.
Just listen to Kirk.
He's the only quarterback in the league that avoids blame for all losses and gets full credit for everything else. It's unbelievable, except on this show, of course, where I think we hold him to a higher standard. But Judd used the word hollow to describe his stats, and I think that's a perfect
Hollow
word.
box score. Yeah.
Yep. Why is it that he is the common denominator on the same team for 7 years, basically, going back to Washington? No, they aren't perfect teams. They don't have perfect coaches, although he was coached by Sean McVay and Kevin Stefanski and a Mike Zimmer that was like 20 games over 500 until he got here. So, but like people paint it like he's just the unluckiest guy ever. I mean, he's worked with some of the best coaches. He's worked with some amazing weapons. Defenses haven't been perfect, but it's absurd. And yesterday was a lifetime achievement performance by him. The perfect box score and a loss to a winless Lions team.
But he's the best quarterback the Vikings have had in years because they can't find one, okay?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So 33% Kirk Cousins, 33% Mike Zimmer's narcolepsy, 33% the magic of Dan Campbell, and 1% to everyone who inexplicably overlooked this game.
Rip Van Zim, baby. Rip Van
A
Zim.
little lengthy there, but worth it.
6-4. Oh, no. You know what? Declan's the only one here just because I went. How long?
You went 5:02.
No. With the time that I did the preseason game, which is why we started time this.
13-minute, 14-minute pie
just
chart?
because you know what? That was preseason. I was working on things. See, I used it for good, and now I've tightened things up.
Speaking of tightening things up, now that I'm seeing Judd in person here, looks like the physique is tightening up.
Yeah, can you believe this? Like, hold on a second. Like, look at that. Oh boy.
Turn side. Oh, I didn't think there was going to be an undershirt there.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
God.
God.
No. Look at that.
Okay.
This guy.
Oh, my God.
Hey, you know what? That's thanks to my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers. In fact, and you can join me now. Not Declan because he's skinny, but if you are trying to drop some pounds, you can join me in what we are calling a season to believe. Join today. Save 50% off the program. Your first visit is free. And again, join today. So don't wait. Join now. Start to shed the pounds now. 855-GO-LIVEA or visit Livia, LIVEA.com to find out a program on which I am down right now, boys. 28 pounds. Best part, I'm going to get to 200 pounds. I'm 211 right now, and I am going to stay there, and that is all thanks to my friends at LIVEA, Livia.com. Check them out. First visit free.
We have friends everywhere. We have friends at Federated, too. They're based in Owatonna, and they are here to help business owners with risk management. So you think about now the winter weather is officially here. I love it. I show up to town, and all of a sudden it's 5 degrees with 5 inches of snow.
Yeah, what happened?
I mean, I did choose December.
It was really nice before you showed up, though.
I know. And it'll be nice, I'm sure, when I leave. But if winter weather can impact your business, be sure that you have a guiding hand like Federated. All sorts of great resources and people to help your business protect its bottom line, protect its employees. Federatedinsurance.com. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. Before we get into the Surly Sermon and silver linings, what do you have to say, Judd, just about the current state of this team after that loss? Because on one hand, you can say, well, boy, I mean, they're only still a game back of the 7 seed. But then on the other hand, it's like, okay, what is the ultimate goal here? Where is your goal to just sneak in as the 7 seed and then keep running it back every year with just the same old mediocrity? What is your 30,000-foot view of where this team stands on this Monday now?
That on several important occasions throughout the course of this season that we have gotten, and not just we, but the Wilfs as well, have gotten confirmation that this current structure of GM and coach, and you know what? Several players has run its course. It's time to pivot. It's time to change. The Dallas loss. Dallas is a good team, but you lost at home to Cooper Rush. That was bad. The Detroit game here was bad. They almost came back and won. The Detroit game on Sunday was terrible. But I don't think that the loss to the Lions at Ford Field on Sunday is a terrible loss, because I think it's confirmation. And I think the way to put this is, if you were looking to fire an employee, the ordinary strategy is to build up a case, right? So like you don't just go in one day and say, well, you lost to the Lions, you're fired. You say, we have built up a folder of infractions. And it's now gotten to the point where it's time to make a change. And when it comes to Rick Spielman when it comes to Zimmer. I think that folder is now full. And as I told you before, Phil, this is not a you're fired, get the hell out, you screwed us. This is a thank you. You did a really nice job for a long time. You did a lot that we can all, including you, be proud of.
Yeah.
But it's time to pivot and make a change. And so I say this with no animosity towards Zimmer, get the hell out, or Rick. I say this with a feeling of, in some ways, resignation, but also excitement, because I think the future can be bright. I don't think continuing down the path that they're on makes any sense.
Yeah, and you're not guaranteed anything beyond like a 2 or 3 year window in the NFL. And there are some really interesting pieces here still beyond 2021 that you want to take advantage of. Justin Jefferson's body language yesterday, not in a diva way. I think there's a difference between like Terrell Owens and sometimes Randy Moss's body language, where it wasn't about how the team was performing. It was more about like, I need my touches, right? Mm-hmm. Jefferson, you can tell, and Diggs is the same way. Like he's throwing his hands up. He's doing like the head roll and the eye roll at times, either if he's not getting the ball or if, whatever, if there's like an underneath play or something that was called. And I think he's doing it not because I need my touches. He's doing it because, well, that's not how we're going to score 40 points in this game and win. And that's what it felt like with Diggs too. It wasn't like, I think people mistook it sometimes as he's just being a diva and he's pouting. It's like, no, he thinks that the offense should be elite. And they're not doing it right. Mm-hmm. And it's a little better now than it was, because at least you see some flashes here and there of what they could look like. But I understand his frustration, and I don't want him to feel like he's past the point of no return.
So there's two plays in particular from him yesterday that stood out to me as examples of what you are talking about, Phil. One is the third down pass that Jefferson, because there was one incredibly that he wasn't on the field for, but there was a third down pass that he was, and Jefferson ran a route that was short of the sticks. It was like 3rd and 15, I think. And he ran a route that was short of the sticks, and the pass went to Conklin in front of him. And that play got done, and you could see Jefferson's shoulders shrug like, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't even get to the sticks. They didn't even. So, and I think that was as much about the play call as Kirk, but it was a very informative shrug, because he didn't like gesticulate and like, what the hell's going on here? It was just like, oh my God, I'm really good. And what was that? And the second one and this is where I'm curious about a quarterback who would have a better skill set and a quicker mind than Kirk, was the choice route that Jefferson ran at one point, where he was going to cut outside on the cornerback. Kirk had locked in, and this is Kirk. Kirk had locked in on the inside choice, and he let the ball go, zing, it was almost picked off. And you could tell Jefferson was like, dude, I was like 6 steps just thinking mentally ahead of where this play was going. And if Kirk had the ability to pivot himself, that's probably a substantial gain and possibly a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And those are two, because Jefferson didn't melt down, but those are two plays where you're saying, holy cow, if this is done right, Jefferson makes both plays. Mm-hmm. And he didn't have a chance.
And there's also like all these people who are like, well, look what do you want? They targeted him in the second half. It's like, what do I want? I don't want them to score 6 points against the Lions in the first half and give that team a feeling that they're going to win.
Right.
I want you to be up 24-6 at halftime. And I get that that's not always realistic, but 6 points at halftime?
Yep.
And it's not all Kirk. It's a combination of different things. But the other thing too that I see a lot of people doing is, it's like they're trying to turn this into a black and white blame game. It's Zimmer's fault. Yes. It's Kirk's fault.
Yes.
Maybe it's possible at this point in their careers. I mean, Kirk is 33 years old. He's been a starting quarterback for like 120 career starts or something. And his teams are below 500. He has been the common denominator over 120 NFL games of below 500. Not train wrecks, but below 500 football. And he has played a key role in that mediocrity. He's also played a key role in making sure to avoid disaster. As a loyal listener, Michael DM'd me on Twitter earlier this morning, Kirk Cousins has the lowest floor the highest floor, but also lowest ceiling of maybe any quarterback ever in our lifetimes, where he's going to get you enough production to not be a disaster, but he's also going to be deficient in leadership and key moments and mobility enough to prevent you from winning as big as you want to. And that's how you lose a game like you lost yesterday. And yeah, the defense was terrible too, but that brings me to Zimmer. It's not just an either or black and white thing. Mike Zimmer's defenses, although depleted with injuries, have just not been as good in the same situations as they were good 5 years ago in. 5 years ago, they don't let Jared Goff walk down the field the way that he did, right? So I think the combination of Zimmer and Cousins and a lot of other things in and around those guys, they're not good enough to win at the level that this franchise should aspire to win at. You don't have to play the protection game. Well, yeah, but it's more Zimmer's fault. No, dude.
Right.
Neither one of those guys is going to be hoisting a Super Bowl trophy as a head coach or quarterback, with one asterisk. If Kirk were to drastically lower his cap hit to allow the team to fill holes and depth wherever his next stop is, I think there's a chance. But I also think he comes up so short and he's so rigid in certain situations that it's going to make it hard even if he made less money to the cap.
I don't think he's mentally wired right to win a championship. I think he is mentally wired to potentially make a playoff run, but I think when push comes to shove and the pressure really gets on Kirk, I don't think he's got that. I do think physically he's got tremendous attributes, but you've got to be able to use those. And I don't think Kirk can. And I don't think that's unfair to say. A lot of people can't. Like, there's been a lot of great players who come up short. And I think Kirk comes up short. I don't think he's wired right. And I also think Mike is not, because what Mike has proven is when the pressure, much like Kirk, it's a different mentality. But when the pressure gets on Mike gets so uptight. Like, you can't do that. You can't be cutting the heads off stuffed toys when things are going well to be like, if you get greedy now. Like, that doesn't identify with people because they get uptight. Like, the last thing that you want to do is create a locker room of guys who are like, this guy's crazy and what the hell?
Cutting the heads off stuff.
I mean, they got to 6-0 at one point, right? Or 5-0, and they lost a game. And he basically called his offensive line soft.
I know.
That's the last group that you can do that with. And he'll say, well, I learned from that. Okay, but it's still how you're wired.
Yeah.
Like, you can't change. Small things in life can be changed to improve, but your personality, you can't just say, well, I've changed that. Well, no, you really haven't. You still get incredibly uptight. I mean, why do you think those guys went into the 2017 conference title game and completely gagged? Is partially because they were so uptight.
Yeah.
And they played like it.
I'm going to throw one more thing out, Kirk related here. This is a team stat, but it's a record that the CBS production crew put on Kirk. And I'm going to back off a second and say there's a big debate always, and especially lately, about whether QB wins is a stat. I think maybe we throw this out later this week because I think this is worth diving into. Like, to what degree are QB wins a stat?
Sure.
I'm going to write that down. Maybe we do that on 4-Question Friday.
Write that down.
I don't think you can attribute a team win-loss record all to one player in any sport. But I think there are some sports, like if you're a superstar in the NBA, or to some extent if you're a starting pitcher in baseball like 10 years ago and further back when guys were eating more innings, and if you're a starting quarterback in the NFL where you have so much influence on the outcome, you don't have 100% influence, but you have a lot more influence than your teammates do, then you can more safely attribute wins and losses to that player and have it over the course of like 100, 200 career starts in the NFL, have it be accurate. And that's why, like, early in the show when I bring up Drew Brees and all these other guys who were in the top 100, even Tony Romo. Tony Romo had a ton of deficiencies and played for different coaches, and those Cowboys rosters were not perfect, but those Cowboys teams were 30 games over 500 in the regular season because Tony Romo had a little something. Like, he's made like 5 high-profile mistakes, but he was actually great in key moments statistically. He's like one of the best fourth-quarter quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. He blew it in some playoff games, but your team would be better from a record standpoint if you were a better leader And if you were better in key moments, if you had attributes that led to more team success, you can't look at Kirk's team record being under 500 for his career and say, well, that doesn't matter because football's a team game. Well, if football's a team game and everyone's equal and everyone has equal input on wins and losses, then why would you pay one guy such a ridiculously high percentage of your salary cap? Why would you pay a guy 20% of your salary cap in a team sport with 53 players? It doesn't make sense.
Right.
So all of this is to say that he's now 2-25-1 with the Vikings when trailing entering the fourth quarter. Now, some of that's the defense. He took a lead and then the defense gives it back. But that's amazing to me. And I'd like to see it lined up with some other quarterbacks, but I can guarantee you that this is 2-25-1 is among the worst you're going to see of any quarterback that's currently in the NFL. Because he's 2 wins away from it being 0.
Yeah, that'd be impressively bad.
Years. Yeah.
Well, and what you can't dismiss, for instance, about Sunday's game is the first half. Like the problem is the debate is, well, Kirk won the game and the defense blew it. Okay, if the game was the fourth quarter game, like that's it, then yeah, I agree with that completely. Mm-hmm. But the first half, go back to the first half and dissect it. And the deficiencies when you should have been taking an enormous lead are huge.
Yes. That first half gave the Lions full belief that they were getting their first win.
And control. Now, they lost it, but it gave them control. But when Justin Jefferson has 2 catches for 53 yards and you are late in the second quarter, people who are paid a lot are screwing up. Mm-hmm. Not Justin Jefferson.
I think that's a good segue into the Surly sermon here on this Monday from Judd Zulgad.
Thank you very much, Phil Mackey. Surly, well, and here's the thing. You know what? Surly and Surly Furious in particular, boys, was brewed for seasons like this. For seasons like this, where you are tired of settling, so you say, my football team might be a disappointment, but I can get surly and it can help out. And that's where we land on the Surly sermon, the post-game preach. And here it is. You would think I would be furious about the Vikings' embarrassing loss to the previously winless Lions on Sunday, and yet as I sipped my surly and contemplated the future, I am at complete peace with this loss. Actually, I'm happy about it. This presents now an opportunity, as we discussed before, for ownership to make things right by making a GM and coaching change to get this franchise back on track. The Vikings have stumbled far too often, my friends, for anyone to believe the future is bright if you have the trio of Rick, Mike, and Kirk running the show. Sunday was the latest reminder of the need for a change in leadership. And so as you sip your surly, dream of a team that embraces Justin Jefferson before desperation settles in. That builds an offensive line with something more than bubblegum and duct tape, and that utilizes all of its playmakers. That's what we should be seeing next year, meaning your game day surly in 2022 will be even more delicious.
There it is.
That's the surly sermon, folks.
Very good, Judd.
Hope.
The surly sermon.
Hope.
With Judd Zulgad.
Now go in peace, my children.
It's great. All right. Well, we are contractually obligated after Vikings losses.
I actually quit this part of the show.
To go around the room and give our silver lining. A silver lining off that loss yesterday.
The fact that Justin Jefferson is a stud and they keep even giving ways to not just catch the ball, but throw the ball. I think it's honestly great. The way they, yes, Pat, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, as Pat Royce gets my attention.
So are we doing this or not?
Yeah. As he knows every day at the same time, every Monday. My silver lining is Justin Jefferson is an absolute stud, and they even give him opportunities to pass the ball. I thought that play where he literally still threw the ball, having the awareness, like, I'm going to take a huge loss. And he still almost completed the pass to KJ Osborne. I love it. More wide receiver passing.
How about that
more
pass?
Justin Jefferson.
That's what the Vikings need. More wide receiver passing will fix this thing.
What an athlete, though. Seriously, to throw that pass.
I know.
And it wasn't a bad pass.
Dude, he deserves so much better. And again,
he does.
He in the second half, he definitely got his, but it's like, God, you're right. Oh, now we're desperate. Oh, okay.
Now let's look to him.
We're down by 2 touchdowns, so let's throw him the ball. It's like, or jump out to a lead and don't let that team think that they can win. Anyways, all right, Judd, what's your silver lining?
Mine is this. With Thielen being hurt during the course of that game, actually pretty early, and it sounds like a high ankle sprain that might keep him out for a while, perhaps the rest of the year. I don't know. But anyway, my silver lining is KJ Osborne got targeted, got some chances, and continues to prove he's damn good.
Mm-hmm.
He's damn good. I think there was one Kirk pass that he could have caught. It was on a crossing route, but it was slightly behind him. But again, KJ Osborne, for the first time in how long, guys? For the first time in how long, gives this team not one, not two, but three receivers who you can target. And we're not saying, well, I hope BC Johnson gets a chance because I think he might be good. And of course, in a case like that, we have no clue. KJ Osborne has proven since training camp that he is good. He is a viable target. And again, if you do this right, if you come in with the right people next year, I think you got some really nice offensive components.
Yeah, you do. You do. You've got weapons all over the place. You also have, and this is my silver lining, you might have two franchise centers. Because yesterday,
oh boy,
Garrett Bradbury, I just looked this up. Garrett Bradbury, according to Pro Football Focus, posted the third best in-game rating of his entire career. 77.5 was his rating and his grade in that game yesterday on a 1 to 100 scale. The only other game this season that was over 70 for him was against the Cardinals in week 2. So Garrett Bradbury, he's back.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Bravo, buddy.
Yeah, against the Lions, baby.
Performance.
Yeah. Now the offensive line, not
Go
so
State.
good.
He was much better in run blocking, which is usually the case. But I don't know. Maybe there's a way to salvage Garrett Bradbury as like a swing guy for next year. That's my silver lining, I guess.
And
Greg Joseph had a good game. It was a great game. He kept those field goals in the first half, kept the Vikings in it. Then he kicked another field goal to cut it to 12 points.
That's
all I got.
Can we never get that announcing crew again, by the way?
Why is Jay Feely
Can we never,
commenting on offensive
I don't
schemes?
know.
That was terrible.
But that whole experience was on CBS. Was awful.
Jay Feely, just stick to kicking, maybe.
But he used to be like a sideline kicking correspondent. And now he's in the booth for games. Why?
And Spiro Ditas, Spiro Ditas is fine, but
great name. It's
the key moment of the game here. And I get that you've probably been snoozing because you got assigned Vikings-Lions here in week 13, and you're probably pissed off. But
these MFers.
So, there's like a minute, whatever left. The Vikings get the Lions got the ball back down 4 with a minute and a half left. And Spiro Ditas is like, well, the Lions kicker, he's new, he's inexperienced, and Jay Feely has to cut him off and be like, guy, it's a 4-point game.
4 points.
Yeah, the field goal doesn't matter.
That was brutal.
And Spiro Ditas just kind of went silent for a couple seconds.
He dropped it.
Check the score. He just
dropped it.
Here they line up in the shotgun. He's like, yeah, I guess I'm wrong. Anyhow, if you missed Vikings Vet Line yesterday, it was very festive. It was a wonderful therapy session, so check it out. And if you could click the subscribe button and the like button, if you're watching us on the Score North YouTube channel, you could help us inch even closer to 20,000 subscribers on this channel. We're making our way toward 30,000 subscribers between Purple Daily and Score North
Declan
channels.
on a horse, petting a horse, taking a little ride on a horse.
50,000 and Declan has to brush a horse.
Oh, God, I saw one on my walk this weekend. It scared the crap out of me.
What do you think they're going to do? Just like turn around and kick you off?
They might. They can be nasty.
They are.
They can be nasty.
I don't want anything to do with a horse.
Stab you.
And you know what? They can sense your fear, and so they'll kick you right in the groin.
Dan Campbell and horses, I want nothing to do with them. My kneecaps are I want those intact.
Those horses will roundhouse kick you.
Roadhouse.
Yep. All right. That's a wrap here. Daily Vikings entertainment and therapy. Mackie, Judd, Declan, we'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm sure Boone will have some takes tomorrow.